Today, we embark on an in-depth exploration of the life and legacy of one of World War II's most enigmatic and effective military leaders, Hermann Balck. Despite his exceptional prowess as a Panzer general in the German army, Balck's name often remains overshadowed by more widely recognized figures such as Erwin Rommel, Heinz Guderian, and Erich von Manstein. In this discussion, we will delve into the strategies and battlefield maneuvers that earned Balck legendary status among his peers. Join us as we uncover key moments and personal stories of one of Germany's overlooked Panzer generals. Hermann Balck came from a distinguished military family. His father, Wilhelm Balck, was a prominent tactical writer for the Imperial German Army before World War I. Wilhelm commanded a division with such expertise that he earned the Pour le Mérite, Germany's highest military honor. With this deeply rooted military tradition, it seemed almost inevitable that Hermann would follow in his family's footsteps. Balck's military journey began on April 10, 1913, when he joined the Hanoverian Rifle Battalion as a cadet. Just a year later, on February 12, 1914, he commenced his studies at the Hanoverian Military College. However, his education was abruptly cut short by the outbreak of World War I in August 1914, thrusting him into active service. Balck distinguished himself as a mountain infantry officer, serving on various fronts including the Western, Eastern, Italian, and Balkan theaters. Notably, he spent 3 years commanding a machine gun company. Throughout the war, Balck was wounded 7 times and was awarded the Iron Cross First Class for his bravery. In October 1918, he was on the verge of receiving Prussia's highest honor, the Pour le Mérite, but the war ended before the nomination could be finalized. During the interwar period, Balck was among the elite group of 4,000 officers who continued their military service in the Reichswehr, the armed forces of the Weimar Republic. In 1922, he transferred to the 18th Cavalry Regiment, where he continued to refine his military skills over the next 12 years. Despite being twice offered a prestigious position in the German General Staff, a crucial stepping stone for advancing in military ranks, Balck chose to decline these offers. He preferred to remain on the front lines, where his passion lay, serving as a line officer in the midst of the action. As a young commander, he distinguished himself by recognizing his soldiers as individuals, a trait he credited to his father, General Wilhelm Balck. Reflecting on this, Hermann later said, "I grew up and was educated as a soldier, but I also learned something more important from my father, a deep sense and understanding for the lowest-ranking troops and the mistakes of our social class." In 1939, at the onset of World War II, Balck was serving as a staff officer at the Oberkommando des Heers, OKH, tasked with refitting and reorganizing the expanding panzer forces within the Inspectorate of Motorized Troops. By October, he commanded a mechanized regiment in the 1st Panzer Division. During the Battle of France, his regiment led the charge under Guderian's Panzer Corps, crossing the Meuse River and securing a critical bridgehead, showcasing his tactical brilliance early in the war. Following a series of significant successes, Balck played a crucial role in the breakthrough at Sedan, which was instrumental in the encirclement of the British Expeditionary Force at Dunkirk. Despite these victories, Balck was critical of the German army's tactical shortcomings. He proposed an innovative strategy for coordinating infantry and tanks within specialized battle groups, a concept known as Kampfgruppen. This idea revolutionized how panzer divisions operated, setting a new standard for military tactics. During the Battle of Greece, Balck continued to demonstrate his military prowess as he commanded the 3rd Panzer Regiment. He effectively implemented his battle group strategies while leading from the front, even in the challenging mountainous terrain. His forces, known as Kampfgruppe Balck, secured a decisive victory over Allied troops at Plataman Ridge along the Aegean coast, paving the way for the German advance to Athens. In 1942, Balck assumed command of the 11th Panzer Division on the Eastern Front. Under his energetic leadership, the division achieved significant victories, including the destruction of an entire Soviet tank corps and much of the Soviet 5th Tank Army during intense battles along the Siversky Donets River. Balck's forces nearly annihilated the Soviet 5th Tank Army during this campaign. In early 1945, during the Budapest Offensive, Balck led an audacious attack against 45 Soviet divisions with only 7 German divisions, showcasing his exceptional tactical skills. For his extraordinary performance, Balck was awarded the Knight's Cross with oak leaves, swords, and diamonds, one of the highest military honors in Nazi Germany. He was one of only 27 officers in the German army to receive this prestigious award. In September 1943, Balck was appointed to command the 14th Panzer Corps in Italy, where he faced the Allied invasion at Salerno. However, he soon returned to the Eastern Front to lead the 48th Panzer Corps in a bold but ultimately unsuccessful attempt to recapture Kiev. By August 1944, Balck briefly commanded the 4th Panzer Army before being appointed to lead Army Group G in France. During this period, he played a key role in delaying General George Patton's Third Army's advance in Lorraine. In late December 1944, Balck was relieved of his command of Army Group G due to conflicts with Heinrich Himmler. However, Heinz Guderian, the chief of staff of the German army at the time, quickly reassigned him as the commander of the 6th Army on the Eastern Front. In September 1943, following his assignment in Italy, Balck received 1,500 Reichsmarks for a vacation in Slovakia with his wife. However, he spent the entire amount in a single evening in the fall of 1944, hosting a grand party for veteran members of the 11th Panzer Division, which he had recently commanded as part of Army Group G. On May 8, 1945, Balck's unit surrendered to the US XX Corps in Austria. He was subsequently taken prisoner and held until 1947. In 1948, his past caught up with him when he was arrested for the murder of Artillery Commander Lieutenant Colonel Jan Schutka. The incident had occurred on November 28, 1944, near Brody, when Schutka's unit failed to provide critical artillery support during a key battle. The inebriated Balck bypassed the standard military tribunal process and directly ordered Schotta's execution by firing squad. Balck, who had been convicted of manslaughter, was sentenced to 3 years in prison but ended up serving only 18 months. In November 1944, he ordered the evacuation of civilians from Gérardmer, France, directing them towards the advancing Allied lines. This decision triggered a series of fierce battles that severely devastated the town. Moreover, Balck was implicated in the scorched earth Operation Waldfest, leading to a 20-year hard labor sentence handed down by a French military court in Colmar. However, he was never extradited to serve the sentence. Some of the battles commanded by Balck were documented in the memoir Panzer Battles, authored by former General Friedrich von Mellenthin, who had served under notable commanders like Erwin Rommel and Heinz Guderian. Mellenthin met Balck when his Panzer Division was under the command of the Panzer Corps, where Mellenthin served as chief of staff. After the U.S. lost the Vietnam War, Army reformers aimed to return the service to its traditional Cold War role of defending NATO against a potential Soviet invasion of Western Europe. These reformers sought guidance from successful military strategists, including Balck and Mellenthin. In the late 1970s and early 1980s, both Balck and Mellenthin visited America as military consultants, participating in symposiums, conferences, and war games. Their insights significantly influenced U.S. military strategy during this period. General Hermann Balck became a prominent figure in the American military's discussions about World War II, with his detailed and vivid accounts of his experiences on the Eastern Front captivating many within the military community. General William E. Depew, then commander of the Training and Doctrine Command, even lauded Balck as the best division commander in the German army. Despite his impressive military record, Balck is not as well known as other German commanders, such as Erwin Rommel, Heinz Guderian, or Erich von Manstein. After the war, Balck received minimal recognition, primarily because he remained largely silent while other prominent German generals published their memoirs. Books like Panzer Leader by Heinz Guderian and Lost Victories by Erich von Manstein became bestsellers and helped cement their authors' reputations. In contrast, Balck did not publish any similar works and was rarely mentioned in post-war discussions. Additionally, some historians who did discuss Balck often portrayed him as a staunch Nazi, which further overshadowed his contributions. Balck also declined an invitation to participate in the U.S. Army Historical Division's post-war study of the conflict, choosing instead to work in a depot to support his family after his release from captivity. His preference for a low profile contributed to his obscurity, especially since he spent much of the war fighting on the Eastern Front, a theater of conflict less known to Western audiences. Despite this, Balck meticulously recorded his experiences in journals throughout both world wars, from 1914 to 1945. These journals eventually became his memoir, Ordnung im Chaos Order in Chaos, published in 1981. In this work, Balck offered a candid reflection on his military career, taking responsibility for the mistakes made. He acknowledged critical errors such as the failures in the Stalingrad, Africa, and Caucasus campaigns, attributing them to overextended supply lines and the failure to correct course in time. This introspective approach set him apart from other generals, who often avoided such accountability.